All right, so top 25. We're going to put the graphic up right here. Let's go through here, Mason. Let's start at number 25. We've got Iowa coming in at 25 this week. Iowa takes care of business. They scored 41 points. That is an absolute miracle in itself. And if they can continue to play offense like this is going to be a really tough team to deal with. To be honest with you.
Yeah, they've got Penn State this week, so it's going to be a great game. You know, we're not going through those games yet. That'll be Thursday. Little sneak peek there, but that's going to be a really good game. Two really good defenses, and you know it's really just going to be about believe it or not, it's going to be about who can score more points. So, but you know that's going to decide who wins the game is who scores more points. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the defensive matchups here.
Yeah, absolutely. Washington State creeps up into the 24 spot. They put up 63 points this week. And their quarterback Ward is pretty daggone good, man. And I don't think anybody's really talking about Washington State. They're one of the lone teams left that hasn't made a move out of the Pac-12 yet. And they creep up into the 24. Pac-12 is obviously really good. Tons of teams in the top 25 here, and we're going to see more of Washington State later on in the year. They took care of Wisconsin already, as Wisconsin was a ranked team coming in to play them that week, and Washington State took care of business there, and they're in the 24 spot. Let's so we've got a two-way tie. So we've got two teams tied for 22nd. So this is 22 and 23, whichever order you want to put them in. I mean, you can really go either or. Kansas State gets defeated by Missouri. They were around their 15 spot last week. I still think this is a good team. I really do, and I think that they'll probably cruise on up as the year goes on. They lost a game similar to this last year. I believe it was to Tulsa last year, or not. Excuse me, not Tulsa, Tulane last year. And I think this is a good team. I think there's a really good offensive line. I think if Will Howard can if he can be healthy, then I think this team could be really good. I think Missouri played the game of the year. That might be the best they play all year. I don't know. We'll see if they can keep that going. But we've got them tied with Kansas. Jaden Daniel is absolutely tearing it up. He's throwing about 300 yards a game. If this defense can match his intensity and his play level, then I think Kansas is going to be in really good shape.
Yeah, another one of the games that I'm circling this week, is Kansas. Who is it that they have? Kansas. I don't have it right here in front of me. They've got a really good game this week coming up, and they've got some good ones down the road too. But yeah, Kansas has played well. I just want to see them in a big matchup. That's all I'm waiting on is to see them against some quality opponents. And see what they're able to do in the weeks to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Miami at 21, they took care of Bethune-Cookman handily this past week. Miami, I think we're still kind of waiting to see what's up with them. They caught Texas A&M on a day where I don't know if Texas A&M would have beat any good team the day they played them. I'm still trying to figure Texas A&M out. I'm still trying to figure Miami out, and we're going to have a chance to see it pretty soon. As Miami's got some decent games coming up on their schedule as the year goes on. But for now, we've got them in the 21 spot. North Carolina takes care of Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's very good, but hey, what else can you do other than just take care of business? And North Carolina does that and lives to fight another day. We talked about Ole Miss. They slide up into the 19 spot as they get ready to face off with Alabama this week. This is something that we already talked at length about, but going to have to figure out how to get Judkins going. And if they do that, I think they can probably keep cruising on up in this 25. Let's see, tied for 17th. We've got Alabama and UCLA. Who thought we would have said that at the beginning of the year, dude? Look, UCLA took care of business this past week. I don't even know what team that was. I can't even remember their name. I don't even think I'd ever heard of them, but put up 63 points on them. Didn't allow a lot of points. Looked very good. Alabama looked horrible. We talked about that. South Florida is a horrible team. Gave Alabama everything they wanted all the way to the end. Alabama is working their way down this board very quickly. And if they lose again this week, then they're going to be outside the top 25.
Yeah. Look, we've been telling y'all all season long that Alabama does not have an offense and they're not going to be as good. They're not going to win the SEC. They're probably not going to win the SEC West. And it's a lot worse than we even thought. Their average is grits. The AP poll surprisingly actually moved them down. Kind of surprised to see that in some ways, but they only moved them down to 13. So, we're lower on Alabama than the AP poll, which I think is ridiculous because what I think is happening is the AP poll voters are saying, well, look at their quarterback, competition that's going on. They're trying to figure things out, and all this stuff. But if this was Oregon State or maybe like an Iowa or UCLA is probably a really good example. They're not paying attention to them like they are Alabama. So they're not going to give them that. If this was UCLA who just scored 17 points against South Florida, then they're not in the top 25, So I think that Alabama is getting the benefit of the doubt right now from the AP poll voters, but we're shooting it to you straight here, folks. And I think that 17 is a pretty fair number for where they're at right now. Just behind, coincidentally, the team that they're going to be facing, just ahead the team that they're going to be facing. I actually had them behind Ole Miss this week, but our averages together put them just ahead of Ole Miss at 17 and Ole Miss at 19.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to drop them down farther than what I had them. I also think it's fair probably to keep them where I had them, as they didn't lose. I had a problem bringing them down really any farther, in my own estimations. But this honestly, like 15 through 25, you could just interchange all of these, and I'd be pretty happy, with what it looked like. Honestly, maybe a few of them would be visually out of place, but overall, I think 15 through 25 is pretty plug and play. I really do. And I think there's teams off of this board that could be in that discussion as well, like Missouri, for example. Number 16, we've got Colorado. I got a feeling that they're probably about to come back to earth, but they were supposed to win by 23 points this past weekend, and they squeaked it out in double overtime against a Colorado State team that has got some players. I'm not going to deny that fact. I think they do got some decent players, a decent receiver and tight end there. Quarterback played pretty well, but overall, I think it's come back to earth time for Colorado, and I don't think it'll take away from the excitement that's going on in Colorado. And I think this offense is exciting, and I think they'll be able to move the ball in a lot of situations if they can keep their quarterback upright. And that's probably going to be a little bit of an issue against Oregon this coming up week, and against USC as well. We'll see how that USC defense looks against this Colorado offense. But for right now, we've got them at 16 after a double overtime victory this week. Number 15, we got Utah. I talked about it earlier, Nate Johnson. I like Nate Johnson. I think this was a good move. Barnes was not getting it done at quarterback. Cam Rising's not back. I think this was the best option for Utah, and it looked like this offense had a lot more cohesion this week after sticking with a guy and going with Nate Johnson, who provides a lot of relief for the offensive line and this offense with his legs.
Yeah, for Utah here, you're right. I mean Johnson is playing really well. and I think you're right to say like, hey, we're not buying Cam Rising coming back, until we see it. So I think this is pretty fair. Right now to be determined with Johnson. I think he's got to be a little bit more tested before we move them up in our rankings. But outside of the quarterback position, I mean, this could easily be a top 10 team. So if they're able to figure that out, expect to see them climb our rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oregon State, they moved past whoever it was that they played. It wasn't a very good team, but DJ Uiagalelei doesn't look very good. Throws a couple interceptions. He did throw for almost 300 yards. But Oregon State moves on, and they're not. They're a team that has been on an upward trajectory since the last few games of last year, and they continue to project to be a pretty decent team before this schedule gets real here in a few weeks. We got Duke and Oklahoma tied at 12. Oklahoma's looking good, man. I think a lot of Oklahoma fans were kind of upset with the SMU game. I don't fully understand that. I think SMU is a really good team. And I think that Oklahoma did what they were supposed to do against SMU. They held them to like 16 points or something like that. I think that was this Oklahoma. We talked about the defense taking a step up this year, and it looks like they've done that. And I'm hearing some whispers about Oklahoma fans wanting the quarterback benched, and I just think that's silly. You're in a situation where you're on a trajectory to clash with Texas in a Big 12 championship game, which would be a rematch of a regular season game. So everything you want is in front of you. I don't think you're pulling the plug on this to let a freshman quarterback come in there. And Duke just keeps on going, man. They just keep doing their thing. Duke's not no fluke, okay? This is just a decent football team, okay? There's really not anything else you can say about Duke at this point. They're just a doggone decent football team. And I expect them to continue to prove that throughout the year. What do you think about these two?
The doggone decent Duke Blue Devils, right? They continue to impress, and they're getting the job done. Kind of see them do it against more of that ACC schedule that they've got, but hey, I'm here for it. Basketball school, what? Like, I mean, they're just doing it. They're just doing it. Oklahoma, they're honestly, they've been more consistent this year than Texas. Realistically, if you look at it,
That's a good point.
That's going to be a really good game, and I know that they don't have the big win that Texas has against Alabama, but they've been a lot more consistent. So I think that 12 is fair just based on the schedule right now. But power rating wise, they're really up there with Texas in my opinion. And the whole like Jackson Arnold playing thing, it comes with the territory of signing these 5-star quarterbacks. They're gonna add a little bit of drama to your quarterback room, and that's what we're seeing. If he is that good and he's able to start as a freshman and they need him against Texas, he'll be in there. I feel pretty confident that Venables will make that decision if he feels comfortable. But, Gabriel's been getting it done, and I think they should just ride it out with him until he proves otherwise.
Yep. LSU, number 11. LSU was probably the most dominant-looking team, them in Washington, this week. In week 3 of the 2023 season. They absolutely just opened up a can. This is what we thought the LSU team could look like. And if they continue to look like that, they're going to continue to climb up the board. And it seems like they're the class of the SEC West, in my opinion. There's about enough said on that. LSU is what we thought they were. I think they've had a really bad second half of football against Florida State. I think they got outcoached, and I think that's about it. I think that they're a really good team.
I think that they're a top 4. Like if you ask me to power rate all these programs, I think they're top 4. I think they're really that good, and it's starting to show. And they don't always show it, but join the club. They're in there with Texas, I guess. But let's get into our top 10, man.
Top 10. Here we go. Number 10, we've got Oregon. The Oregon Ducks. they take care of business again. They rip the ears right off of whatever they played. Hawaii, yeah, man, they're just really good. This is a really good offense, and Hawaii's not good. But what you do to not good teams is you put up 63 and you pop them on top of the head and tell them to get back down to their level, and that's exactly what Oregon did.
Yeah. I mean, not much to take away from this game. I think this is the big week this week, and you're starting to
Yep.
see it. I saw it actually on your screen there on ESPN that the bow banners were going off. So
Yeah.
I don't really know if that helps them win the game, but but it's exciting. This is going to be a really exciting week. So I'm excited to see Oregon and what they're able to do against, and really their first big test of the year. So let's see what they're able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ohio State, number 9. Um, we're just kind of waiting. We're waiting for this game that's coming up this week. We got Ohio State's going to be traveling to Notre Dame. This is an absolutely huge matchup, and cannot just so excited to see this matchup coming up this week. Ohio
Yeah.
State took care of business, put up 63 points. It's been a couple weeks in a row now that we've seen this offense catch a stride. And right there at number 8 is Notre Dame, their opponent for this week. So Notre Dame 8, Ohio State 9. Notre Dame also took care of business. Both teams seem to get out of those games healthy, which is great for all of us college football viewers because that's what we want. We want a good matchup with all the stars healthy, and going to be plenty of stars in this one between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Audric Estime and Sam Hartman. This is going to be a star-studded game, and I expect it to be a very good game, and just probably going to be a really well-played football game. If I could imagine, these two teams seem pretty well organized right now.
Yeah, and to me, this is a playoff game. I mean, realistically, we're getting a playoff game, kind of like Florida State and LSU was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're getting a playoff game in September, and so I will be glued to the TV at this point, for this game, and I think Notre Dame's going to win it. It's in South Bend, and Notre Dame has just been sort of the Cinderella of well, I shouldn't say that. This is definitely Colorado, but what a great comeback for Notre Dame this year, and what they've been able to do, and just been a really big surprise, I think, for a lot of college football fans. If they're able to do it against Ohio State, man, watch out. They're probably going to be up in that top 4 if they're able to beat Ohio State. Really, either way you look at it, like whoever wins this game is going to creep up. So it's a big win.
Yeah.
For whoever wins it, and I'm excited. I think this could be a really, really close game. I'm leaning towards Notre Dame with the line, just seeing where it was at earlier, but it could go either way. I give Notre Dame the edge, in South Bend. But what a great season they've had so far. We got them at 8, and Ohio State, who put up some really good points this week against a nobody team, but I think that it was important for them to go out and build that confidence in McCord heading into their one of their 3 biggest games of the season. Man, I can't wait for this one. I've had it circled since the preseason, and it's going to be a good one.
Yep, absolutely. Number 7, Penn State taking on Iowa this coming up week. We're going to see what this offense is about, and it's going to be a big test for Drew Aller this week, as Iowa has always got a good defense. Penn State just takes care of business. Not a lot of flash, not a lot of pump and frill, but they take care of business, and the defense looked really, really good this week. So I think things are looking good for Penn State to go take care of Iowa, but Drew Aller is going to have to make sure that he doesn't do anything to lose this game for him. He hasn't done that yet, and if he can, I think he can just be a game manager in this game and get the ball to the playmakers on the outside for Penn State, and I think they can run their program. But we got them coming in at number 7, and at number 6 we got USC. They didn't play, so not much to gather from that other than USC's got a really good offense, and they have a really bad first bye week location on their schedule. Anything on those two?
No, I mean, you said it all. I'm excited to see what Penn State does this week. They've got a really good matchup with Iowa. It's going to be a really, really good test for Drew Aller. I feel kind of iffy about this game. I think it's one that could sneak up and grab Penn State, but this is a total team overall, and I think at the end of the day, the better offense will win, right? And I think that's Penn State. So pretty similar on defense. Iowa might have the slight edge, but I think that Penn State's offense is that much better. They're going to be able to pull this out, and it's a home game for Penn State. So give the edge to Penn State in that matchup.
Yep. All right, top 5 time. We got the Washington Huskies at number 5. We talked about what they did to Michigan State. This was a much better team playing a team that is reeling from multiple different situations that are negatively affecting their college football team. Washington is really good. Okay, they're fairly healthy, minus the fact that they lost the starting running back from the beginning of the year. They've stayed healthy so far. The schedule is backloaded, and they're going to play some really tough Pac-12 matchups. As we know, the Pac-12 has got some really, really good teams this year. But Michael Penix is probably right now my favorite player in college football right this second. I'm just fascinated with what's going on at Washington, and they creep up into the number 5 spot. And I think that them and LSU are tied for performances of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that they had like the biggest jump or the most noticeable jump, I think, of the week, creeping into the top 5. Jumping over USC and Penn State. USC didn't even play, and they got moved down because people are starting to realize that Washington is the real deal, and they are for real.
Yep, absolutely. Number 4, Florida State. Honestly, if I had to do it over again, the more I talk and think about it, I probably would have I would have even went as far as to put Washington up there. But the thing is, Florida State has got the best win of the year so far. And so with that being said, in the AP, they moved from 3 to 4, so they did get moved down a little bit. And it doesn't matter at this point if you're what spot you're in, as long as you're in, the top 10 at this point, you're right where you're wanting to be. But Florida State didn't look good. That was a bad showing, defensively, offensively, the whole 9 yards. They got beat in pretty much every element of the game. 1 of 9 on third down. It was a bad day. We'll see how they bounce back from it. It was a day they probably thought they were going to sleepwalk right on through, and Boston College didn't give them that courtesy as they gave them everything they wanted all the way to the end of the game.
I think going with Florida State, it's like, man, it's so crazy that LSU lost to this team because they don't seem that good. And also, it's weird to me that and I did have a thought on this. They got to face Clemson next week. Maybe they're just looking at this and going, let's not throw out too much. Keon Coleman had like 1 catch.
Yeah, so right.
Yeah. He did something. He got me a few points on the fantasy team, but maybe it was a run or something. But he had a little bit of action. I was looking to figure out, is he hurt? What is going on? So I'm thinking that they just went super vanilla with the offense, and maybe it almost cost them. But I'm sure that they were looking ahead to Clemson in some way. So maybe we see a good bounce back for Florida State, but. I wasn't as high as everybody else was on Florida State heading into the season. They do have a huge win over LSU, which I'm still scratching my head about after this week. But yeah, I think we're comfortable leaving them at 4 based on the big win. But if they're not able to get it done, handedly against Clemson, then you could see them start to creep down.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 1, 2, and 3, we've got pretty much what we've had. Georgia, Michigan, Texas. Um, Texas doesn't look good. We talked about it, 10-10 going in the fourth. They figure out a way to score some points in the fourth quarter, close this thing out. I guess you could say that's what a good team does, right? They play good in the fourth quarter, and that's what Texas did to beat Alabama. They played well in the fourth quarter, and pulled that one out as they were getting kind of took a punch back from Alabama, and then delivered a knockout blow to end the game. Um, Michigan did not look very good. JJ McCarthy did not look very good, but they take care of business. So, um, they won what 33-7 or something like that.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it was just a run of the mill. I feel like they were kind of sleepwalking. Like I said, JJ McCarthy, I think, had 3 interceptions he threw, 2 or 3. Not good. It wasn't a great show, and I didn't watch the whole game because it was such a horrible matchup. And was a game you thinking, okay, this Michigan's going to win this 42-0. Didn't quite do that, but they took care of business nonetheless. And Georgia, we talked about, really throttled South Carolina in the second half. Started off very slow. Georgia started off every game slow this year, literally every single game. And if Georgia can figure out a way to play offense in the first half, they're going to be pretty hard to beat this year.
That's right. I think that Georgia is probably the most complete team right now, but they're not playing like it in a way. So I hope, as a Georgia fan, that they're able to take that second half against South Carolina and build on it. That's kind of what everybody's thinking and projecting and hoping, but I'm not confident in that. I do worry a little bit about this team and what they're able to do moving forward. But, the fact that they closed the game out so well gives me some hope. But in that first half, I was thinking, man, maybe it is just really hard to go 3 in a row. Maybe they are going to have their work cut out for them. And of course, it's not easy to do, but that second half again gave me some hope as a Georgia fan that they're going to figure these things out. Hopefully, they get some guys back from injury for these games coming up, and I'm sure that's going to play a huge part in this. And let's just see if the offense can get clicking. They can take this momentum on the offensive line and do something with it and continue to grow. But yeah, didn't do anything to lose the number 1 slot in my opinion. We just got to see them play some bigger opponents, down the road, and it's going to be a while before we see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Georgia's got UAB this week, so they're going to have a chance to probably get healthy this week, or a little more healthy, and could probably sleepwalk through this game this coming up week. Hopefully they don't do that, but probably could do so. And that's our top 25. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. We're going to go live on Thursday evening. We will put out a post and it'll show when that show's coming on live. But come join us on Thursday evening and let's preview all the games for this week. And we're going to give all our best bets on our Between the Lines segment on that show. We're gonna kind of combine those shows and go over the key matchups for the weekend. A lot of really heavyweight bouts coming up this week for slate. It's going to be really entertaining football. Can't wait to see the lines on it. I have not peeked at them yet. I'm gonna wait a little closer to time and continue to build my opinions. I want to watch a little bit more footage of some of these games, and we're gonna go from there. But thank you so much for joining us. We thank you for commenting and letting us know how we're wrong and yelling at us. We love to argue with you guys and or agree with you in the comment section, and would love to hear from you, and would love to hear you call in on the Thursday live show. So come on and join us and talk some college football. Thanks again for Marcus and Mason and First and Long. Have a good evening.
Thanks.